What is up, Sports Spectrum? I have the opportunity today to talk to Dylan. Dylan, how are you?
Blessed. I'm having a great time. So just enjoying the day.
Let's go. Well, Dylan, I want to get into Auburn basketball and all the things, but I do have to ask you about something I saw called Chillin with Dylan, and I think you might have some of the swag on. It's a perfect
Yeah.
timing. So what are you outfitted in today?
Yeah. So this is my Chillin with Dylan shirt. It's a show that I have here at Auburn, where I just go around and kind of just hang out and chill with people, and just kind of show the Auburn fan base, there's more to Auburn than just basketball, whether it be highlighting the fire department or highlighting the Eagles program that we have here or the culinary center that we have here. It just gives the opportunity to use my platform, not only to glorify God, but kind of just to give back to the university that poured into me so much, and really just show how exciting Auburn is.
That's awesome. So how did that start?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty funny. I started, it wasn't even supposed to start, to be honest. Our media guy, his name is Stephen Leonard, have this thing with our student section called The Jungle, and they usually camp out for games. And so it was the Alabama game back in 2023. We were just goofing around. And he was like, hey, we're about to go out to the line and just video people. Like, we want you to go video people. And so I have the mic in my hand. I'm just like being goofy as I always am. And I like to rhyme a lot. And so I was just cutting a promo like as a joke. And I'm like, yeah, this is the first episode of Chillin with Dylan. And we ended up hanging out with people, they call it Pearlville, where they camp out. And we had a really good time. And after that, it wasn't supposed to be anything else. And so, a couple months passed. I decided to come back to school for my senior year. He texted me and was like, hey, like this Chillin with Dylan thing you did in February, I really want to use this moving forward. And so, through that is giving me a little short form video, like kind of TV show almost, and we filmed some really funny episodes. But people say that's their favorite thing about Auburn is sometimes is the Chillin with Dylan. They always say
No way.
so. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it took off because it was really an accident, and so.
Wow, I loved hearing the backstory of that. And you said you've done firefighters. I saw you also put some football gear on. What's been your favorite Chillin with Dylan episode?
Every single one of them is special in their own way. I love every single one of them an equal amount. The most terrifying one was the firefighter one because I'm terrified of heights, and so they had me climb up on a 100-foot ladder that was higher than the arena that we play in, and I'm looking down on our arena and it's swaying like back and forth, and they're telling me just don't look up at the clouds because the clouds are moving. Your body's going to move and you're just going to fall off the ladder. And what you would think firefighters had these cable cords to hold them. No, they had this little, it's like a string. It's like a string you can buy from Walmart. And so I was terrified of that one. The football one was hilarious, just because I love college football, and to be able to put on a jersey and, be a football player for a day was pretty fun. But I mean, they're all special in their own way. I've had a chance to be literally like a foot away from a bald eagle. Who could say that? It's crazy how, the Lord opened so many doors, through Chillin with Dylan to have the ultimate Auburn experience.
That's incredible. And it's cool how it was kind of an accident, the whole name, how it came up Chillin with Dylan, right? And those are one of those things in life when you're like, yeah, that's probably the Lord. That was definitely the Lord doing his thing. And man, I don't think I could get within a foot of a bald eagle, so that's very impressive.
Yeah.
But I just have to wonder, does this kind of acting, in a sense, not really acting, more like vlog and lifestyle entertainment content, does this make you maybe want to be a media personality down the line?
That's what the Lord opens. I don't really have a preference for what I do after basketball. My dream and my goal and my passion is to play in the NBA one day, and then after that, I really want to get into ministry, whether it be being a co-pastor or a full-time pastor or motivational speaker who's faith-based. I just want to be used as a vessel. And but after the NBA, I have a little, my little goals. But my main priority after serving God, obviously, and being a minister is being a father. I grew up with a single mother household, and I didn't have a father in my life. And so I don't want to be like a slave to basketball my whole life. I want to get in, put my time in the NBA, and then just get out and pour into my kids and be a great husband. And so the Lord really slowed me down because when I was younger, I used to want to be a media personality. I used to want to do everything at once. But I read this book called Ruthless Elimination in a Hurry by John Mark Comer, and it talked about the power of simplification. And, the only person that can be omnipresent is the Lord. And I try to be omnipresent my junior and senior year. And I didn't realize, yes, I still love the Lord, but my faith lacked intentionality because I was trying to do everything at once. I was trying to do Chillin with Dylan over here and meet donors over here and make friends over there and make all these memories where, the Lord just wanted me to be still. And so that's kind of what my senior year, my last year, I'm a fifth year now, is all about, is just being present. That's my motto, being where my feet are. Matthew 6:27 says, by worrying can you add a single hour to your life. And so I've just pursued a path of peace right now.
Well, Dylan, you should be a pastor right now because I just got like a great word to me this morning. You just said so many good things in there, but I want to go back to you talking about your mom. Just from seeing your mom raise you, is there something that you most admire about her that you one day, when you are a father and you do have kids, you want to invest in them?
Yeah, just her faith, man. Like she is the definition of faith. I mean, I'm just surprised. I don't know how she raised me, to be honest. I was a lot to handle as a kid, and let alone she had three of us. And so just to see what all she went through, whether it be, domestic abuse or being, being cheated on, she still pursued God. And, man, it was just powerful to see, like, when she was going through her toughest time, we were bankrupt as a kid. I grew up poor. She was still pursuing God. And, the Lord gave her a peace and a comfort that transcended all human understanding. Like, if I was her, if I was in that position, I don't know where I would be with God. I'd be like, why is this happening to me? And so, she just kept pursuing God, and she kept praying over us. And that's one thing we did do, is we pray every day as a family. And I mean, that's kind of what I want to instill in my children, just like, no matter high or low, like, we're still going to praise God and we're still going to seek God. But she's the one who kind of like was like the imprint of my faith growing up.
That is really cool, man. I want to meet your mom right now. She sounds like a woman who you meet her and you see Jesus without even talking to her. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I want to cheer you on in Auburn basketball, but then your dreams of the NBA, and then maybe, being a pastor someday and then going into ministry or whatever you want to do, because that is really cool. But I can just imagine how cool it is going to be for your kids someday to see your Chillin' with Dylan videos and that personality, and have your mom as their grandma. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a blessing. I'm just grateful for the Lord. Like, He just opened so many doors for me that I truly couldn't open for myself. That's something that my teammates and I. That's like the what I kind of want to, I guess, just portray to everyone, like the younger generation, is that, just be where your feet are, man. And because at the end of the day, like, we can try to rush to where we're at, but I believe that, a blessing too soon is a curse. The reason I say that is because there's a story in I think it's in Samuel, where King Saul, he was tall, handsome, strong, all these things. He had all these great physical attributes. Everyone thought he was going to be the greatest king ever, and yada yada yada. Him and the Israelites about to go to war, and the Lord didn't want him to go to war until obviously he had the Lord's blessing. And so Samuel was like, "Hey, wait before you move, before I have to get the word from God to make sure that, the Lord wants you to go on this fight." So, anyways, he gets impatient and he leaves before Samuel gives him the word from the Lord. He loses the battle and he comes back to where he was supposed to meet his family in the first place. And Samuel's like, the Lord didn't tell you to move. And so since you disobeyed God, I'm going to take everything from you, give it to your worst enemy. And he gave it to Daniel. And Daniel was a small shepherd boy, but his heart was after the Lord. And what that showed me is that when we want to go our own pace and our own way, like, we jeopardize what all that God has for us. And so for me, how I relate to that is that I wanted to be a one and done so bad, and I wanted to rush through college, and I wanted to be, that guy. And then I realized, if the Lord would allow me to go to the NBA at the age of 19, I mean, I wouldn't have a quarter of as much as what I have now, whether it be my foundation in Christ, whether my younger brother being here at Auburn with me, the girl that I met, who is my girlfriend now. Just the lessons the Lord has given me. Chilling with Dylan wouldn't be a thing. I wouldn't be cemented in Auburn history. I would have jeopardized so much by going at my own pace. And I try to tell people, like, there's peace in the journey, and there's a purpose in the journey, belonging us. Our journey is just because he's adding things onto us and taking things away from us. He's refining us like silver so that we can be better stewards of the blessing when we get it. And so I just grew up trying to speed through life, and it did nothing but add stress to my life. And then I realized, like, the Lord is adding so much more to me than I could possibly see, because I was so forward focused, to where I was like, Lord, like, I can't enjoy the things you're giving me now because my mind is not where my feet are. And so I try to tell it to my teammates, is like, we all want to be places at our own time, but there's a purpose of why we're not there. And it's not because our sin or we're not doing enough. It's because the Lord is obviously working things that we can't even see. Because I had no idea I was going to be in college for 5 years. I had no idea I was going to have all the things I have now. But I'm grateful that the Lord slowed me down, because it's giving me this opportunity to really just enjoy his blessings and see how great he is.
That is incredible. And I just love how you can say that specifically, because people might look at you and be like, man, Dylan's playing for the basketball team. He's coming home late from late night travel away games. He's doing Chillin with Dylan. He's got a Big Talk podcast.
Yeah.
He's got a social life outside of school. He's probably attending other sports games at Auburn. Now through Chillin with Dylan, you've met other people on campus who might not have anything to do with athletics. So people might look at you and be like, man, you're doing everything. You're doing a lot. What do you mean you're being still?
Yeah.
So I guess but there's good in all of that, right? And that is what the Lord is teaching you to have your eyes open to and the people to invest in, right?
Yeah.
But how do you be still in a sense when it feels like you still are doing a lot? Like for people who might be in that college environment, what does that really look like?
Yeah. For me, it's just really like being intentional. That's my word of the year is intentionality. And so over the summer, I deleted all social media. I would post and I would just delete. For me, being still is just having one day or having, moments in the day where you just sit down, like not lay down or try to go to take a nap, really just sit down and, like for 15, 20 minutes and just kind of just be quiet. I think this generation especially, we just struggle with always doing something, whether it be doom scrolling or whether it be, I have a scooter, so I used to just scoot all over the place. But I mean, with being still, it's like, you finally give yourself time to not just think, but you open yourself up to an opportunity for the Lord to put something on your mind. And so for me in college, what that looked like was like having a Sabbath day where there's a day in my week. It could be any day you really want it to be. But just having a day where you don't move. My passion is really extreme. There used to be days over the summer where I would put my phone in the airplane mode for 24 hours and then just like I couldn't talk to anybody. And it was so boring. I went to a lake that day with my friend, and I mean, traveling 3 hours with no phone is just not fun. Look at the window.
That is hard.
It challenges you. And so, I mean, our biggest distraction is probably our phones. And so I just limit my screen time all the time. And I really just try to give the Lord an opportunity to just speak to me throughout the day.
That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna sit in silence and really just be still in that sense and be intentional with it too. Like not just like, okay, my phone happens to be at the other side of the room, right? Like you turn your phone on airplane mode. You went that extreme.
Yeah.
But I love that piece of advice, and I think anyone can really do that. Like, yes, there are lines of work where you need to be on your phone and texting, but like you can find the time. So I love that you said that because it's really interesting. Well, Dylan, you got to go on a really cool trip earlier this year with members of the Auburn basketball team. Could you just describe this trip?
Yeah. I mean, the key thing, short and sweet, is the best trip of my life. It was impactful, and just the things that I learned from it, it was just amazing. But I want to give a big shout out to Jeremy Napier, who's our college, who's our team chaplain. He fought tooth and nail to make this a possibility, and Chad Pruitt joined there with him to advocate to the university, that the team really wants to go. And I don't think people realize, how much spiritual warfare there was in getting getting this basketball team to go there. We had a meeting with, the university pretty much, with the university's attorneys saying like, hey, if anything happens in Honduras, we can't help you. We can't life flight you out of there. Like, you're on your own. And you got to think, for most people who aren't as deep in their faith, that's terrifying. Even for me, that was scary, because I'm like, man, like it's an insurance issue if I get hurt over there. And so obviously the devil starts to put fear into your mind, like, well, do I really want to go to a foreign country? And so, for us, just the people that went to even have the faith to go over there was insane. I want to give, like I said, a big shout out to Jeremy Napier, because he was fighting tooth and nail and praying and he helped raise a lot of money for us to go as a team. But like I said, this is the most impactful trip of my entire life. I've been to Israel twice. I've been all over the world. The Lord's blessed me to go all over the world. But Honduras and just serving the Lord intentionally was great. And I was on my phone then. So for me, it really was a testimony to me. I grew up poor and I struggled with, having an unhealthy reverence for money. I was very stingy. I didn't want to give because I was afraid if I gave, like, the Lord wouldn't, help give me anything back for me. And obviously that's a lie from the devil. And so we would go to these people, like, literally lived in a junkyard, and they had tinfoil roofs, and they had like 6 to 7 people cramped up in, like, I guess what you could say, like maybe like 100 or 150 square feet house. Like, it's bad. It's really bad over there. There was just so much joy. Like, they had a lot of joy. They had a lot of, I'm not even gonna call it happiness. It was really just joy. They were very content because they had nothing to compare it to. I remember we were just handing out toys. And I mean, like, these are like not even Hot Wheels. These were like little small, like 1 cent toy cars and little like cheap plush toys or whatever, and stuffed animals. And like we would give these to these children, and I mean their faces was just brighten up like we just gave them like a PS5, and what it showed me is that like we just need to be content with what we have, because I mean we live in America, we always want more, we always want the next big thing, but I mean these people are so joyous with the minimal, you know what I mean? And it was just insane to see how much joy they had when they had nothing. And what that showed me was, when God is all you have, you realize God is all you need. We just have too much in America to where we don't realize that God is all we need. And that was very powerful, coming back to America with that mindset, and it freed me from the shackles of, like I said, having an unhealthy reverence for money. 'Cause I used to like really struggle with tithing. And so this year, actually, with 2024, was my first time tithing. And I gave 10% of my paycheck to the ministry in Honduras, who helped me go over there. But that, like I said, I wouldn't be where I'm at just spiritually without that trip. It was great for my family. My younger brother went there. It was great for the team. It's exciting to see the Lord move in so many ways. But I mean, like, it was the most impactful trip of my life.
Man, yeah, are you kidding me? Like, for you to be tithing back to that group and to that same area, like, that impact is gonna, last you your entire life. And I'm not gonna say it perfectly, but I love what you said just about how like we have so much here in America, and it's like when God is all you have, you realize that God is all you need. Like, I absolutely love that, because it's so true. But like sometimes we forget that, and maybe it took that trip to open your eyes again to that. And I'm sure it impacted not only you but so many of your teammates. And just shout out to your leaders too for like taking that bold step in faith and being like really knocking down the door at Auburn and being like, we're taking these guys on this trip and we're going. I absolutely love that. So I guess when you were there, what was something that you guys were specifically doing?
Yeah. So it was really old fashioned. It made me feel like I was doing like the best work, because we were evangelizing. We would literally go down a street, we go house to house, just witnessing to people. And it kind of reminded me how, of the apostles back in the day, where that's kind of what they had to do. That's how you spread the gospel. They didn't really have, they don't have churches like that in Honduras. And so it was great to just be, just a beacon of light and an example of who God is. But yeah, all we did was we would go down these streets and we would evangelize people and ask them pretty much like, what's stopping you from giving life to Christ? And what we realized is that down there, they have a lot of church hurt. The same problems we deal with in America, they're dealing with there, where they're like, I stopped going to church because someone hurt me at the church. And the coolest story from that was there was 3 houses in a row where they all were dealing with church hurt. But there was a lady in the middle who was like extremely wise. Like, she literally like pretty much had the Bible memorized. It was insane, but she didn't go to church because she said that people didn't like her at the church, and like she could really be a pastor at a church. That's how her deep her wisdom was. But her two neighbors were dealing with one of them was dealing with a loss of an aunt, and the other one was dealing with like a loss of a son. And they were all like, yeah, we don't go to church, but we do love God. And so we encourage them all. We're like, hey, like, you all are dealing with the same exact problem. Just have your own like community group. Like, have your own like time where you're like, we are the church. We don't need a building to go to church. Like, just go meet up at a house or something. But it was just insane to see like how there were 3 people who were all neighbors that didn't know they were going through. They're all going through the same exact thing. That's kind of what Christianity is all about. Is like, we're sharing the grief. We're kind of sharing that burden with each other, so that we can kind of just power through it.
Man, I want to meet that other woman, the woman with the house in the middle. She sounds awesome. But what a fun trip, and just cool for you to have that experience. Like you said, you've been to Israel, you've been other places, and like for that to be one of the most impactful parts of your experience. And right, if you had been on that fast-paced life, like, I got to get out of here, I want to rush through Auburn, you would never have been able to go on that trip. So I just love hearing that, and it was really cool to just see photos from that trip as well. But I do want to ask you a little bit about playing with your younger brother, because I got to play 3 years of college lacrosse with my little sister. And it's so funny. I said this to somebody the other day when they asked me about it. I was like, man, I felt like she was coaching me up more than I was helping her. And like, I'm the one with all the experience. I've been I've been around. I know what the scoop is. And so I had a lot of amazing and incredible moments with her. And, we definitely went head to head a few 1v1s, but I just want to know a little bit about your experience playing with your brother.
Yeah, he's I think 2.5, 3 years younger than me. I forgot. I don't know. But he was born in '05. I was born in '01. And so he just got here. It's his first year. But it's just fun to have the extra like encouragement on the bench where it's just like, hey, Dylan, you got this. Like, I believe in you. Just having someone in my corner, when the environments are real tough, it's real cool. Like he's just right there. And so it's real fun. It's really just a joy, to be honest, to see his growth. Because Auburn's an amazing school, and it's a blessing to have him here. But man, like just to see his growth, like he was a regular student, like in high school, like he played basketball, but he didn't play at a high level, and so he wasn't really recruited. And then I prayed to the Lord, like, hey, like I want my young brother here at Auburn if I do return. He opened that door for him to come back, and so he walked onto our team, and he's having a really good time. And it's just so funny to see how, he is like literally. He's like our goofy team leader. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense. We have this group called the Aura Gang, and
the Aura Gang.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. We have 2 groups. So I'm in Strong Gang. It's me and Cheney. We're the Strong Gang guys. Like because we lift weights, and then the Aura Gang guys, they all dress up, and so they just love to have the swag on. So it's Tahad, Janai, Miles Kelly, and then my younger brother. And it's just funny, the walk-on who doesn't play is the team leader of, the National Player of the Year, the best three-point shooter in the country, and then the best freshman in the country. It's just funny. So it's just funny how God works. I mean, it's a blessing to have him here, and it's just a blessing just to see that, my mother, who's a huge Auburn fan, doesn't have to depart from Auburn as quick as she thought she was going to. So now she has 3 to 4 more years.
That's good. Soften the blow. I know, like when you have kids playing and any really friends even, and they leave school, like it's hard. Like it's hard. You feel so invested. And I know my little brother was in high school football, and this is his freshman year in college. And earlier this fall, I saw her watching our high school football team's Friday night games on her phone. We're like, Mom, we're out to dinner. He's not even there anymore. You get so invested, and so I so believe that. But do you have a favorite memory, maybe just from this year on or off the court, or just something that you laughed at your brother? It's Drake, right?
Yeah, Drake.
Drake about?
Yeah. So that happened literally just recently. We beat Tennessee, and for some odd reason, Chad, number 10 on our team, he goes into the student section, and we're like we're just having a blast. We're just like jumping and dancing, and like I turn around, and then there's Drake, like just jumping and hugging and dancing with like some random guy in the student section. I was like, wow, like that's what I did as a sophomore. When we beat Kentucky, and it was just like a full circle moment to see my younger brother enjoy that same feeling of obviously a big win. But it was, I literally saw him. I almost fell to the floor laughing. I just forgot he was like I said, like on the team. Like he was just in the stands watching me last year, and now he's on the court with us. And so it's really cool to see. But that was my favorite memory for sure. It was a proud moment for me. I got to share a victory with my younger brother, and just see him kind of do the same thing I did when I was his age. As far as just like mine was way worse. When I was in Kentucky, when we beat Kentucky my sophomore year, we jumped in the student section. I took my shirt off. It was our way. It was more demure, but I mean, it's so much joy, just to see, how happy he was for this team. Because he's a big part of why we're winning as well. We have a great scout team, guy. We have a great scout team.
Well, now I'm going to be looking up for the Aura guy. What was it called? Aura Group? What was his formal title?
Aura Gang.
Aura
Yeah.
Gang. Okay.
Yeah. Don't ask me. I'm Strong Gang, so we like to lift weights over here.
Good. Well, I'm all about that, and man, I'm going to be looking out for Drake maybe to jump in the student section again. Hopefully, you guys have some more big wins. But I want to get a little bit into your basketball season because you are in the thick of it. But to throw back to last season when you won the SEC championship, that must have been so fun, so incredible. Yeah. What was that like?
Man, it was a blessing for me, but it wasn't as much of a high as most people would think because my eyes were set on the national championship, and obviously we fell short. But it was still great to win an SEC championship. I mean, winning any championship and making history is a blessing. But it wasn't something that I was overly excited about it was a blessing to have. It was a blessing to do. Like, I never did it before, obviously. We won the SEC regular season championship my sophomore year. But, I mean, it was fun, but I must say, like, my eyes are set on something much bigger.
Definitely. Well, we hope you can get that one done this year. We'll be cheering you on. But I do have to ask, because you are a post player, you're very tall, and so I'm sure you've been dunking for a long time. But when was the first time that you dunked?
Yeah, I mean, I was a late bloomer in my athleticism. I've always been tall, so I didn't dunk until ninth grade. I was 6'5" or 6'6", I think, in ninth grade, and I was just chubby. I had some work to do. Yeah, I mean, that was my first time I dunked. And ever since then, I kind of just worked my athleticism, and now I'm pretty athletic now. But growing up, I was not the greatest athlete. I was talented, but I wasn't a great vertical athlete.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you had to kind of get there for a little bit. But that's interesting. Now people can know that it does take work. You're not just born with the ability to do it. You got to work on it. It's something that you prepared for. So I just wonder, maybe on game days, how do you prepare for when you go into battle on the court?
It's a great question. It switches up from time to time, depending on if the game is a high stakes game. I kind of like to do the inverse. So if it's a high energy game, I lower my energy, because obviously I know that I'm gonna get very animated when the game happens. And then if it's a low energy game, I make sure I get I get hyped up. And so I listen to very slow. I'm already naturally, like, energetic and giddy. So I usually just listen to slow music. I try not to think about the game at all. It just stresses me out sometimes. And so I literally don't think about basketball. I try to, just not distract myself, but keep my mind away from basketball, whether it be through reading a book or reading the scripture. Just, like I said, just continue to be where my feet are. So what my game day looks like is, I wake up, I do my game day devotional, which starts with a line of gratitude, like saying what I'm grateful for. Then I go into prayer. I go into worship, and then I read a book in the Bible. I read a chapter, and then obviously after that, I mean, like I said, just throw the headphones on and really just chill. I don't really do too much. Like I said, I love basketball. I love the sport, but sometimes I have to make sure to remind myself it's just a game I used to play as a kid. It's not as high stakes, not life and death anymore.
Yes.
So
no, you're right. Yeah. It's funny you say that, because something that we would say when I played lacrosse was, it's just a yellow rubber ball. Like, you can just be like, same thing. It's just like a leather orange ball, like, that we're throwing in the air. And so I think once we put it into perspective, like, what are we actually doing? We're just playing a game. Like, this is fun. This isn't supposed to be stressful. And so I think that'd be like a great piece of advice for young athletes. Like, when you get caught up in the recruiting, or you got a big AU tournament, or it's just stressful, you want to increase your playing time, or you had a bad game, whatever it is, like, yes, work hard at it, or you're not going to go anywhere, right? But there's also that, like, give yourself grace in the sense of, like, this is supposed to be fun. Sports are created for joy and to have fun.
Yeah, that's so true. That's something I say as well. Just continue to give yourself grace. Like, we have enough critics in the world. We don't need to be our own biggest critic anymore. So obviously hold yourself accountable, and don't be satisfied, but be content, but don't be satisfied. But yeah, man, just continue to give yourself grace. I love saying that to myself as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, like, you've had a smile on most of this podcast. Like, I think too, like, just smile through it. That's something too that I would do if I was having a bad practice. I would just be like, gotta fake the smile until I feel it, like, so upset about that rep. I wonder, is there something about your Auburn 2025 basketball team that people who are even going to be at all the games and watch on through the broadcast, like, they might not know? So what's something that you want them to know that they might not know from getting to watch the game?
Man, the Lord's really moving. The Lord's really moving here on this team. Through my 4 previous years in my 5th year being here, I've never seen a team pursue God as much as this team has. We have a travel Bible study that we do when we're on away games. So last trip we traveled with 12 or 13. Last trip we had, all but 2 guys show up, and this is continuous. It's not like, hey, we're forcing people to go, telling people, like, come to Bible study. Like, these guys are seeking God, and it's just insane to see, like, how much God has been moving on this team. To even where, Janai, like, he just had two really unlucky injuries. He's back playing now, thank the Lord. But in that, he opened himself to the Lord, to where he allowed his injuries and his hardships to really give him that extra push to depend on God even more. And so what I did was, when he sprained his ankle and he dislocated his shoulder, I was like, man, you're going through a really tough time. It reminded me a lot of my senior year in high school. I gave him a Bible, and we started going through the book of Job together. So we're on chapter like 13 or 14 today, but I kind of just wanted to remind him, like, hey, even though you're going through hardships and you're going through trials, like, don't give up on God, because God is trying to do something for you. You might not be able to see it, but the only way we can kind of grow in a relationship with God is that you kind of do need hardship. You know, it's easy to go through life if it's easy. I mean, it's easy to like not need God as much when you're on the mountaintop, but I mean, when you're in the valley, like it gives you the opportunity, like I said, the extra motivation to get closer to God. And so I just didn't want him to turn his back on God out of frustration, because that's easy to do. It's really easy to do that. And so I just challenged him while reading Job, just to do as Job did and realize that the things that we have that come from the Lord, we're just here to steward them. We're not here to take them into heaven. We can't take them into the afterlife. Job says, you know, naked I came to this world, naked I'll leave. And the Lord has given and he surely has taken. We just have to realize, like, the things that we have are only for a short bit of time, and don't be so devastated when those things leave. So yeah, I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to pour into Janai, and he said that it changed his whole perspective, because obviously that's what we're here for. We're here to refresh each other's souls. That's what Proverbs says, is that a great friendship is a refresher to the soul. And so I just want to stand in that gap with him and help him grow closer to God. And so, like I said, the Lord's really moving on his team, you know, from, you know, our best player to our walk-ons. And so it's been a blessing to see.
I love knowing that now, because now when I watch Auburn basketball games, I'm going to have a new perspective on your team and know that, like, just beyond the court, Dylan specifically is pouring into his teammates in, like, the hardest season of their life. And, you know, the most fun when you're on the mountaintop too. Like, it doesn't stop there. And it's cool to know kind of what different teams are doing, and cool because not every team has a Bible study like that, right? Not every team has a community where they can pour into each other, you know, on and off the court. And like you said, it hasn't always been like that. And so that's why it, like, really sticks out to you this fifth year for you. But just the last question to wrap up, because I know you're in the thick of your season, and I want to give you time to, if you're what was your term? The big guy, the strong guy?
Strong gang, yeah, we got to lift.
Strong gang. If you're in strong gang, I'm sure you got to hit the weight room today and make sure that you're investing in that. But last question, a little teaser. Is there a Chillin' with Dylan coming up that you can preview, or an idea that you have?
I can't say. I keep the guests on the. I like to keep people on the toes. You know, I don't like to spoil much about Chilling with Dylan. If you have any Chilling with Dylan fans out there, just make sure y'all stay tuned, and we'll let you guys know. We are working on something, but I like to keep them a surprise.
All right, we'll just stay tuned. How about that?
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I'm going to be cheering on Auburn men's basketball. Hopefully, we'll get to see you dunk, and so excited to have you on the podcast.